record on this computer. Okay, welcome. Welcome to today's podcast. I'm Sandra Wallace, the OCD Anxiety and Depression Coach, and today I'm privileged and honored to have my dear friend Jacqueline Ortiz here with me today from all the way from Scottsdale, Arizona. As some of the listeners know, I'm from Canada, smack dab in the middle in Manitoba, Canada. And as part of Living in My Shadow podcast, I like to bring people on that I feel our audience would appreciate and learn from. And Jacqueline is just that. I'll give you a little bit of background on Jacqueline. She's the self-love diva. I love that name and title. She is a self-love. She also is focused on law of attraction, and empowerment speaker and best-selling author, we cannot forget, of the book Extraordinary You, which she has in her bookcase behind her, which I love the title and I love the cover. Awesome. Now she talks a lot about and supports people that are living with and feeling things such as overwhelm, overstressed, and overcommitted. So I feel she encompasses everyone and can relate to everybody based on those three factors alone. And as a result, if you don't deal with those three components, she talks a lot about that leading to feelings of unappreciation, unhappiness, and unfulfilled. So without any further ado, I'd like to welcome you, Jacqueline, and tell us a little bit more about you that we may not know.
Well, Sandra, first and foremost, I want to say thank you. I'm thrilled to be here with you and glad to see your beautiful face again. So happy, my love. I'm the self-love diva, and that is a superpower that I believe we absolutely, every single one of us needs to create that amazing, extraordinary life that's juicy and fun and purposeful and meaningful and blissful and joyful. And self-love is a superpower for everything. So that's why I am addicted to self-love. And ironically, some people may think it's selfish. I think it's not. I think self-love is the most selfless thing you can do, because the more you love yourself, baby, the more you could spread love and give love from a sense of generosity, not from feeling lack or for wanting something in return, but just giving to give from love.
Nice.
So I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, nice. And I know it feels selfish, especially for a lot of us that are caregivers or always are pleasing other people, that when we put the focus on ourselves, we feel guilt for it because it's guilt-ridden because we think we should be doing something for someone else. So I love that. So I have a few questions for you today. And one of my first questions that I wanted to ask you is regarding your book, and if you could talk more about the extraordinary you, and specifically more around the topic of anxiety, because as you know, a lot of my clients that come to me and a lot of people in the world out there today more than ever are suffering from anxiety. So when it comes to anxiety, give us a little bit of breakdown or perspective from your point of view as far as how anxiety can be overridden.
Absolutely. Well, my book is called Extraordinary You, and it's to synergistic approach to transform you from ordinary to extraordinary. And when it comes to anxiety, there's so many things in the world now that we can be fearful or have anxiety about, especially after the last 3 crazy years we've been going through. However, anxiety is a feeling, and if we could just get bypassed that by, instead of thinking we're separate from everything and everyone, how about if I call it the Q team, which is the Quantum Trinity team, which is just focusing on, Quantum Trinity team. So it's all about focusing on your inner child. When you give so much, and this is in a good way, love bomb them, because people say love bomb narcissists. I'm thinking love bomb your inner child. Love on your inner child like there is no tomorrow. I mean, really give her or him love. So it's about the inner child, the Trinity, the inner child, your adult self, and your higher self. So when you put all three in alignment, I call it, you get to tune in, tune up, and get turned on to high vibration. So instead of focusing on anxiety, it's about reframing what you're thinking about. So, and reframing what's happening, because everything that happens in the world is absolutely neutral. You know what I'm saying? Like some people can think, for instance, public speaking is one of the biggest fear out in the world. Some people have it worse than spiders, but it depends. It's one of the biggest fears is public speaking. To someone that would break them out in anxiety. Other people think they get excited about it. They get excited about speaking because they want to have a message that they want to give to everybody.
Right.
So everything is neutral. It's how we choose to look at it. So I am obsessed with acronyms. So like QTT, like it sounds like QT. It's another one I use is Pro Reframer, which is a powerful, resourceful, obsessive about reframing everything to support you, to benefit you, to empower you. Reframe everything. So everything I reframe, absolutely everything I reframe into the positive to support me. And that's why I suggest everybody does too, because you could look at anxiety. And the reason why I believe that a lot of us get anxiety is because we're thinking we're separate from everything and we have to handle everything. But what if you start reassuring your inner child, which is acting up? So I look as my inner child, just a little baby girl that gets anxiety and gets scared. But what if your adult self can just take deep breath, calm down, and focus on not the ego, but focusing on tuning in and tuning up to your higher self. So when you start looking that you're not alone, whatever, and I don't preach religion at all. I do preach love. Everything is love. So the more love you could give to your inner child, your higher self, your inner adult self, you fill yourself with love. That's why I'm called Zelda Diva. The more love you give yourself, the more that will calm the anxiety and you can reassure it and calm it down, because it's basically your ego that's acting up, and your ego is trying to protect you. And it's thinking it's keeping you safe, but it's the opposite. It's giving you anxiety. But if you focus on love and that everything's always working out for you, and whatever happening, you could just, instead of thinking it's happening to me, it's happening for me. And I just, people say, oh, they just say that, but it's really focus on how it's happening for you. So don't say the words, because those are just words, which is great. It's a great start, but feel it into how is it working out for me? What is the lesson? What do I need to learn? And once you do that, everything starts opening up for you, because you start to soothe and calm the ego.
Yes.
Can I say another quick acronym? Is that okay?
Yes.
And it's R-E, like reframing.
Okay.
Everything with me is about everything. I have a 6-step process for it's called Extraordinary You High Vibe Printing System, which is all about everything. All the 6 steps start with But this RE, this is another RE. And it's about when the ego's acting up, that's when you start having anxieties. When it's basically the ego, which is actually a part of your brain. So people say, oh, let me kill the ego. You don't want to kill a part of your brain. You want to kill a part of you. What you want to do is reassure it. Reassure the ego, so that way you're soothing it, you're calming it, you're taming it. Then after you reassure it, you employ the ego with something else. So that's kind of part of reframing. So employ it with something else. So it gets busy doing that. So give it a job. So the job, instead of being anxious about all this stuff happening in the world, if you employ it to do something, it focuses on that, and just keep focusing on what you want it to do. And you can't focus, the brain can't focus on 2 things at the same time that contradict. So if you just focus on what you want your ego to focus on, employ it, give it something to do. So keep it busy. It's almost like, say you have a spouse who's always nagging you. Give him something to do, or something to do, and then you can get back to what you want to do.
That's a good analogy. Yeah, I think we can all relate to that to some degree, right? I like that. And you're right, absolutely, because anxiety, the brain is doing that fight or flight response, thinking it's protecting, like you say about the ego. And really, there's 3 parts I always tell my clients when I'm working with them that have anxiety, which is mostly everyone I work with, including myself at times, right? None of us are immune to that. And so I always say, think of anxiety as 3 steps. I have an acronym for it too. ASO, anxiety, stress, and overwhelm. And my next question, we're going to talk more about that as it alludes to you. But with the anxiety, there's 3 parts. There's always a trigger, right? There's always a core, something triggers it. Number 2, it results in some form of behavior. So whether it's avoidance or making the anxiety worse. And thirdly, it's a reward. Like there's a reward for everything we do, negative or positive. So why not make it positive with RE? I love that.
I love what you said. Absolutely, Sandra. You're brilliant. Absolutely. That's why people want to work with you because you're brilliant.
But I just think it's an interesting process because we don't always see it as that. And they say 40 to 45% of everything we do in life on a regular daily basis is habit forming. Our subconscious just goes there. We don't even think about it. So whether it's positive or negative, anxiety being one of them, we automatically, it's a habit. We trigger it. And there's some form of reward for even worrying. People worry about not worrying. So my next question to you then, Jacqueline, is why self-love is key to overcoming. And more specifically, as you talk about in your bio, you help individuals, your clients, with feelings of there was three things, and I wrote them down. There was there was the three. For me, it's ASO, anxiety, stress, and overwhelm. But for yours, you had overstressed, overcommitted, and overwhelmed. So based on those three pointers, why is self-love key to overcoming those? In what way? Can you talk about that?
This will also expand on what you just said about how we keep thinking about things and we get anxiety. And then the more we think about it, the more we worry about it. And it's basically a vicious loop that we go through. And then we go back. And then that's where self-love is so key. Now I'm going back to your question.
Okay.
Why self-love is so key is because we have this worry, we start worrying, then we feel guilty about worrying, then we do something to numb ourselves because we all in one way or another numb ourselves, whatever it is, whether it's shopping, food, alcohol, drugs, sex, porn, whatever it is, we use something to escape. And I call it life sappers because it saps this life out of us because we, what, gambling, smoking, whatever it is, right? So I call it life sappers. So they sap the energy and the life and the time and emotion and energy and money and gives us stress, all the temps, Anyway, so bottom line is, by loving ourselves, that is a really awesome way to calm the ego and reassure the ego. Because what happens is we start blaming ourselves, and the more we blame ourselves, then we start negative self-talk and cursing ourselves or putting ourselves down, saying, I can't believe how stupid I was. Why did I do? Why am I anxious? How dumb can I be? I mean, really? And then we start blaming and talking negative to us. And then that goes back to the vicious cycle where we stop loving ourselves. So then you add the guilt and the anxiety and the lack of self-love, and it's like the perfect storm.
Yeah.
Rather, if we start talking ourselves positive, you know what? All right, maybe I haven't been kind to myself, but guess what? From now on, next time that I get anxious, you know what you can employ the ego. Whenever I get anxious, honey, this is what I need you to do. I need you to talk to me in a very positive way and reassure me that I am brilliant, I am smart, that I love myself, that I'm deserving of love. You can employ your ego to do anything, give it a task, and that's what I love to do, because the more positive you talk to yourself and the more emotion you add to it, and the more you affirm and reaffirm, and that's some of my steps, which is reframe, reimprint, rewire a new way of being. And then first it comes to thinking, and then thinking becomes a way of being that becomes natural. So basically, the more you tell yourself you love yourself, the more you act on it and behave and give yourself self-love and self-care, it's beautiful, because then you're also soothing the ego because you're calming the ego. So self-love is it's really powerful. It starts with self-love, because what happens is sometimes the anxious part comes out because we don't love ourselves enough. If we love ourselves, or when we learn to love ourselves, we feel such a sense of feeling grounded and stable that the anxiety won't be so drastic. You know what I'm saying? Because you'll be able to calm it down with knowing that you're worthy, you're deserving, you are good enough. That is the foundation. If you feel you're good enough, you'll be able to ease and soothe your anxiety, because you'll realize that you're good enough and smart enough and resourceful enough that anything that comes your way, you'll be able to handle it. So the ego won't be attacking you. Instead, you're soothing it.
Right. Very good. Now, when you're working with clients, do you give them a certain assignment based on that? I'd be curious to know if I came to you as your client, and I have I have to work on my self-love every day. What are some of the things that you give your clients for homework to work on when it comes to that specifically?
Well, one of the things oh my God, there's so many. Just in my book, I have 116, I call it extraordinary sizes. But one of the I work a lot with the subconscious and the ego and the inner child to raise your vibration, so that way you could be more present in the now.
Right.
And again, I don't preach religion, I preach love, and be more, it's called seeing. There goes another acronym. Working with your subconscious, which helps with the ego, which helps with the energy, raising your vibration. The I is your inner child. The N is being present in the now, and the G is for God, and not just God in religion, but it stands for God. Being G is for gratitude, being grateful. O is omnipresent, that we're in this amazing, beautiful energy that's everywhere. And we could tune into that positive energy if we choose to go into the positive energy. And D is for the divinity within us. We're all divine. So that's what I stand for.
Thank
And
you.
oh my God, there's so many exercises. Where do I go? Well, one of the first things I like to do with them is, if it's like a one-on-one client, is my high vibrating printing system, which is what they feel anxious. It's like you were saying, exactly what you're saying about the trigger. The first one is to recognize what is the trigger, what is putting you that way. The second one, step number 2, is regress. So regress them back. People can do individually on their own, thinking back, but what I do is I regress them in a very light meditation, so they could go back to the earliest recollection. Usually it's when they were a child below the age of 7 or 8. Then the next step is to reframe. So whatever happened back then, reframe it into a way that supports you and you can learn the lesson. Then step 4 is to rewrite what happened back then. And what were your inner child would have wanted it to happen, and how would have occurred, so that way it would suit the anxiety back then. And then the next step is to rewire it. And we do it with affirmations. And I have this process I do. It's a free gift I give, which is basically audios. There are 4 audios, which is affirmation, surround sound. And then they have deepening statements underneath. And some of them are subliminal. And then the other ones are, it's 11 subliminal, 11 minutes, 11 seconds subliminal, 11 minutes, 11 seconds spoken. I have 1 hour ones. I have an 8-hour, you sleep all night. Oh my God.
Oh, be amazing.
Oh my God. I would gift it to you, of course, or anybody that wants it. Anyway, what you do is you just lie down and you're sleeping, and it has, all you hear is like a soothing music underneath it. It has the most intensely powerful affirmations and affirmations. And the way the affirmations are worded, and those are subliminal, but they're also the 1 hour that you can hear the words. But the ones that are subliminal, for instance, or any one of them, it's basically, it asks you, it's like, I am extraordinary. Then the other side, it confuses the conscious, and it goes in. And then underneath, the deepening statements. And then the affirmation is like, I am so wonderful. What makes me so wonderful? So it makes it in such a way that your brain has no way, because your brain is a computer, no way to do anything but answer in a positive way.
Wow.
It's framed in carefully orchestrated, phrased. I'm a hypnotherapist, to make it in a way that it just like blows your mind. So I listen to this. I mean, literally, I love you. That's the only reason why I took them off. My Bluetooth, I turned it off because I didn't want it to interfere. But I sleep with my Bluetooth. This is like 120 hours or something. I have 2. I have always one charging. Just I'm like, I can't be without it. So I wait. So the ones in the morning, 11 minutes, 11 seconds, you listen to you just listen to in the morning for 11 minutes, 11 seconds. And you could be doing other stuff you want. But you know, when you wake up, you're in that little state. You hear it saying amazing things to make you feel just extraordinary, and like you have the extraordinary day, how you're going to feel. And it's a way of being, and it's tapping into your intuition, tapping into your subconscious, your conscious mind to calm it. And then at night you could do that right before going to bed. And or it also has the 8-hour ones that's just, you could put in the background and just listen to it. It's like, excuse my language, but it's orgasmic. So that's the re-imprinting. That's the 6th step. It re-imprints it because it's going in and in and in and in.
Yes, amazing. Yeah, I would love to have those. Thank
Yeah.
you. And that leads me to ask you, what are you working on now? What are you working on next? And is there a way that people can get a hold of you, just for example, for that? Or do you have a session where you get on a call with someone new to talk about where you can be of service to them?
Like Sandra, I can offer that free gift. Anybody that wants to listen to it, it's up to you if you would like to do that.
Sure.
But honestly, I'm a product of my product. So that's why I listen to it, and it's just like, oh, So it's funny. But anyway, So what I'm working now, my book, The Bestseller Extraordinary You, I am turning it into, well, it's already turned into a program that I'm doing a founders lunch. And it's basically, it's already it's a 6-month program that you get what I was just talking to you about, the audios you get on different life areas, like for career, for life purpose, for relationships, different ones for over 6 months. Every 2 weeks, you get one delivered. And it's called a soul bite. So it's honestly, I am so ecstatic about it. It's like, I tell you, so it's not just because, I mean, I have people listen to it and they like can't believe how amazing they feel, because I told you about the 8-hour subliminals, right? But affirmation, but underneath it, it has deepening statements also. So your brain is like, well, the subliminals, you can't really hear it, but there's an 8-hour, there's a 1-hour one. The 1 hour is the one that you can hear it. And it's like, you hear the right and the left, and it's like, you don't know which one to listen to. And then underneath at the same time is speaking underneath, like more affirmation. So you're like, and what happens is your brain is just like in a good way, like an overload. It's like, what is going on? It's trying to listen to it right, not to listen, and it bypasses all the positive ones to go deep dive. And then it has to, it's 11:11 in the morning, 11:11 at night, the 1 hour, the 8-hour. And I listen to the background. Like it has to feel your music with different brain waves. So the ones that help you go to sleep, because it's delta to help you. That's the deepest statement for you to go to sleep. So that helps you go to sleep. And then the ones in the morning is like, it's alpha, which is an alert state, which is being the present now. So they have different your music, affirmation, brainwave technologies, surround sound. And that's what I'm working on. And then each soul bite every 2 weeks comes with all that. And I call it Hype Me Up, something I found in, which is Hype Me Up is hypnosis. I'm a hypnotherapist. Hypnosis, hype me up. So it's just, you get hyped up.
Yeah.
So it's hypnosis meditation, and you listen to it, and it is mind-blowing. Hypnosis meditation that you just basically, all you do is, and then what's amazing? It's like the easy button, because it's like easy button, you press it and you just lie down, you chill, and you just wake up feeling like you're on air. And like, depends which module, because the different modules, like one's about prosperity, one's about finding life purpose, life meaning, about feeling empowered, one about the inner child. So how to talk to your inner child. You talk to your inner child, and you can work to those 6 steps I told you. It works to all the 6 steps. So yeah, and it has a playbook.
And when is that going to be available?
It's actually available now if you wanted it to. And I'm doing it also has a group call. So that group call, the first group call is September 8th, but it's available. The program is available now.
Wow. That's excellent. So where can people go to learn more about you or to get in touch with you? Can you provide us with your contact information?
Yes. My website is called selflovediva.com. SELFLOVEDIVA. So .com, selflovediva.com.
Nice.
And if you want the program, also you could go to, it's in there, one of the courses, because I have numerous courses. I have a course about self-love and chakras and stuff like that, because like I said, I'm a hypnotherapist. So you could go to selflovediva.com and you could find it there, or you could go to extraordinaryyou.com/program.
Okay, very good.
In self-love, but it also has a whole page so you can really learn about everything that's in there. extraordinaryyou.com/program.
Okay, awesome. So go ahead.
Let me just make sure I get it absolutely perfect.
Sure.
So it's called so for you or anybody that would like any of the guests, extraordinaryyou.com/free gift.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much, Jacqueline. Now, I wanted to say to you, Jacqueline, if you live in Scottsdale, Arizona, correct? So if you were driving down the freeway in Scottsdale and there was a big bulletin board there and it was your message, what would you have on that bulletin board for the world to see?
Some question. I love it. I love it. Well, we're going to talk about self-love. So my billboard, or the billboard, would have self-love is your superpower for a juicy, joyful, purposeful, meaningful, successful life that will make your heart sing.
Wow, beautiful. And I can see that billboard, just bright lights flashing, neon words in that billboard. So I just want to say thank you so much. This was an amazing session.
I just getting started. It's so much fun. Oh my God, I love talking to you.
Yes, and I think there'll be a lot of people visiting your website. So including myself, I want to learn more about that program. That sounds so exciting. So thank you once again. And for those listening that have questions, further questions for Jacqueline, don't forget to visit our website. And for those of you who want to know more about anxiety, OCD, or depression, feel free to reach out to us at www.theocdcoach.com. Until next time, I will meet you